Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Brittany, and on this channel, we talk all about plants. And today, I did want to show you this new little plant that I just opened. And while we're at it, I figured we could talk about my top 5 easiest houseplants that also give big results. So if you are into plants and into easy plants and into big growth, stick around and let's talk top 5 easiest plants. So I did just open this package. I haven't even gotten him all the way out of the packaging yet. And this is the Sansevieria moonshine, so the snake plant, and you can see it's got this kind of silvery color to it, opposed to just the regular snake plant that we all think of. I do love snake plants, and this was not like a necessary purchase, but they are so easy and so like low maintenance. And I just think that this one is so beautiful. So I thought, why not just get a tiny little baby and see how this goes. So in terms of snake plants, they are so super easy because these huge, beautiful leaves are able to store a ton of moisture. And that means that you don't have to water them very often. So we think of these as like the low light, don't have to care for, don't have to water plant. And I will say that this is number 1 on my list, not my number 1 favorite, but number 1 on today's list. Easiest house plants care that also gives big results. So I've had this specific plant for about a year now, and it has grown so significantly. I do leave it about 3 feet away from a window, so it does get a decent amount of light. And if you want to get those results where you're getting new leaves, getting new foliage, giving it some light is really going to make a huge difference. But if you don't give it that much light, it's not gonna just like keel over and die. So that is why everyone considers this one of the easiest houseplants. And let me show you here some new growth. Currently, this little part is growing, and we've gotten probably like 6 or 7 new leaves. Look how full this thing is. Just over the past few months of them growing, and I think it does have to do with the warmer weather. So huge growth just here in the past few months, and you can tell it's very happy, very full, and also one of my favorite plants because of that. I love a good big house plant. So a couple care tips. Like I said, if you give it a little bit more, the more light, the better. It will grow quicker, it will grow fuller, you will get taller foliage, like those huge tall snake plants that we've all seen pictures of. Those are the ones that are getting more light. Next thing is, the majority of people that kill this plant kill it due to overwatering, over caring for it. So I water mine approximately once a month. Not saying that that would work for you, but it has worked for me. So about once a month, this thing is getting watered. They don't like to be repotted. They like to be super snug in their pots. People say once they break out of their pots, that's when you know it's time for a new pot. And then propagating is also really easy. You can take this plant out, break off, separate, don't break it. Separate these little baby pieces that are growing like this off the mother plant and place it into its own pot, and it will grow. In terms of like the cutting propagation, put it in water, cut it out of V that we've all seen, doable, tricky but doable. I have accomplished it. It genuinely, let me show you this guy. So here is this snake plant water propagation, and it does have like 5 or 6 stalks growing out of it. And I put this little cutting into water in August of 2023, and it is now June of 2024. So this has taken almost a year, and it's not ready to be potted up yet. It is so fulfilling and so cute and so exciting, but definitely not an easy like water propagation. So this was an experiment for me, and I am pretty proud of it, but it's not something that like I want a new snake plant, I'm gonna water propagate it and hope to get a new snake plant, unless you want to wait like 5 years. So number 1 on my easy houseplant list of plants that also give you good results, the snake plant. All right, number 2, easiest houseplant. This is the Tradescantia zebrina, and I do have a little piece of the Nanook in there as well. This thing is my number 1 most prolific grower. It grows like crazy. When I received this little plant back in December of 2023, it was like this big. That's it. Like it was so tiny, and it was dying. It traveled from Florida to Wyoming in the dead of winter, and I did not think that this guy was gonna make it. Potted it up, and it has grown like absolutely crazy. I just recently did take some cuttings from the long pieces, place them into water to propagate, and within a week it had 3-inch roots. Potted this up, and I'm gonna give this to my mama. So there's that. Couple tips for this guy is it wants to dry out all the way before it gets watered again. So I do have this in kind of a chunkier soil mixture, you can see. And I just have this hanging in my kitchen next to a huge window, and it loves the light. Propagate it. I mean, I never even have to remove any coarse foliage. It is so easy and so fulfilling. Like, oh my gosh, this thing is so pretty. The back of the leaves are purple. I love this guy. Number 2, easiest houseplant that also gives results. All right, number 3 is the beautiful Monstera peru. And this plant has these gorgeous, dark, textured, they're like dinosaur leaves. So because they are so dark, they photosynthesize really easily. So mine sits quite a ways back from a window in my living room, and it doesn't need super bright light for it to continue to thrive. It also has these just like thick leaves that do retain moisture. So if you forget to water it and it's like all the way dried out, it will tell you it starts to droop. And if you water it, it just bounces right back up. So I've had this one since October of 2023. My husband got this for me, and we have chopped it, propped it multiple times. It has climbed different stakes. It has trailed, and this guy is so easygoing. Whatever I do with it, it's just continuing to pop out new leaves. So with that being said, if you want one that is striking, it sits in my living room. People always comment on how cool the leaves are, and also super easygoing, like it's not going to just die. The Monstera peru is for you. I did want to show you also, these are all of the top cuttings of the peru that we just recently chopped to propagate. On another video, we were talking about propagating, potting up propagations, cutting leggy plants. So these are all the leaves that were previously on that Monstera peru as well. Sitting in water, starting to grow roots. So easygoing, so pretty. All right, number 4, and this is a plant that is on most people's easiest houseplants list, and this is the ZZ plant. I do have the Raven version, so this dark black version, and I had this for a few months and it really wasn't doing anything. Like I was getting no new leaves, no new stalks, and then all of a sudden over the last couple months, this thing has given me probably 10 new stalks, and you can see this guy. It's not even done growing, like it's fresh, so it's going to get even taller. And I think it's so cool with the contrast of the black leaves and the green leaves when they first start growing. With time and with light, they will turn to this dark color as well. But this plant always is a showstopper. People are like, what is going on with that plant? So super easy. It has these really thick stalks and these really waxy, like hardy leaves. And so with that, it rarely needs watered. I know people that water their ZZ quarterly. I do tend to water mine about once a month, and I do fertilize it. And I think that's why I've had such good growth, but it sits wherever I put it. If it's far away from a window, it doesn't complain. If it's close to a window, I don't honestly notice a huge difference, but the stalks and the tubers that are down in the soil, they look like little potatoes, hold on to water so well. This one is like the ultimate easy house care plant. Same with the snake plant. Overwatering is going to be your issue. So if it starts to get droopy, squishy, you know that you should probably pull it out, really look at the roots underneath and see if there's some rotting going on. Other than that, once you get a watering cycle down for this guy, it will never give you an issue. I have attempted to propagate this in the past, not had luck. People do try and propagate in water, and I've seen some success sticking it into soil. People have had success. Even the leaves on these can be propagated. One of the very few houseplants that you can propagate just from leaf. And if you have the patience to do so, it will take a long time, but it is very fulfilling. I've attempted multiple times and it rotted out every time. So tell me down below in the comments if you have successfully propagated a ZZ plant, and I will give you all the applause because your girl can't do it. Number 4, easiest house care plant with beautiful results. Alrighty, the last plant, number 5, that I wanted to share with you today is the beautiful Philodendron micans. I did want to add this hanging plant because this hangs from a window in my living room and it's like a showstopper. It's so cool. We did recently propagate it, but you can tell these vines are so long and it just puts out new leaves like constantly. If I were to count the number of new leaves that are currently unfurling, it's probably 8 to 10 just right now. And it's short because we did propagate it, but this thing will continue to grow and get really long and beautiful. And then in terms of propagating, I've just cut vines off, put them in water and they root, or you can even just put the vine with the node back into the pot, water it, and it will tend to root in the soil. So this one I do love. I have never had an issue with it. It gets a ton of light right in my window, and so with that it gets these kind of burgundy colored leaves, and people say that that's an issue, but mine has just thrived with that amount of light. I water it probably once every 10 days or so once it's completely dried out. Humidity is low in my house, and it just continues to just pop out leaves and grow these really beautiful vines that are not leggy at all. And so if you want one that's really striking, a trailing plant that just thrives with very little care, the Philodendron micans is a great one that I would recommend. They also have really beautiful, like variegated varieties of the micans. High price point, but maybe something to add to the wish list. So those are my top 5 easiest houseplants that also give striking results. I had a hard time like picking, so if you want to see a part 2, we can do my next 5 as well. Make sure you comment down below if that's something you would be interested in. If you have any of these plants and you have care tips, tricks for us, leave those in the comments down below, and make sure that you like and subscribe if you are into plants and learning about plants together. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.